You are tuned into the Green Hornet Case Files, a beacon of truth in a world shrouded in mystery. Unveiling the legacy and cultural significance of one of the greatest crime fighters of all time. Now, let the adventure begin. Here are your hosts, Kory and Greg.
That's us, dude.
Welcome back. Green Hornet Case Files, Season 2, Episode 14.
14?
14.
I gotta be honest with you, man. It feels like a month of Mondays since we recorded.
It kind of does.
It does feel like a really long stretch.
You know, we just had Jeff on the show, and Jeff did, some really nice social media stuff for us. And, man, I tell you what, numbers are looking good. I appreciate all the comments of everybody that's been reaching out and talking about Jeff and the artwork that he provided. And it's just a fun guy to talk to.
Man, he felt like a bird of a feather, man. It just, that conversation was well over too fast.
Oh, yeah.
I thoroughly enjoyed talking to him. He was a kick in the pants. And seriously, following his Instagram has been awesome.
Yeah, he was just at a show and he must have been doodling at the booth or something, because he was just posting all sorts of cool stuff.
Yeah, it was super awesome, and good to make a new Hornet friend.
Yeah, especially somebody who has had such an impact on the whole genre of. Not just the Hornet,
Well, it's funny because I know we've talked about it a few times, but seriously, we're so lucky to have gotten to talk to all these people.
Oh, yeah.
It's just, the show's fun. We started doing it just because we wanted to talk to each other about it, and we figured we'd record it. And it's been just a wild ride. I'm loving it.
It really has. In fact, I was having a conversation with somebody here a while back. I've been going through a lot of senior moments here lately, and it's because I am. And they were just talking about the show, and that we basically have talked to mostly the who's who of Green Hornet, at least modern Green Hornet that you can get. And
yeah, we got a couple left, and we'll get there.
Yeah,
we'll get.
Yeah, we are still working on some things. We've had some people fall through the cracks that because of scheduling and so forth that we didn't get a chance to chat with. But there are still some folks in the offing here that we're going to try and jump back, on and pick up here as we go. We did have a nice note from. It's R.E. Junker. I don't know if that's the actual name. Hey, guys, thanks for the great interview with Jeff Butler. Told you. Yeah. I love his work in the Now comic series. Didn't we all? Any more interviews like that coming up? Thanks for all your work spreading the Hornet message.
Well, that's super kind. And to answer your question.
Yeah. We're still working.
Just
we still have some
listening.
Folks. And we go through those periods, and I know a lot of people have. In fact, we had the one kind of nasty note that was sent to us about you guys aren't doing what I thought you were going to do, kind of thing, and that's fine, and we can still do that. But our whole crux here was to try and do something different and bring you a lot of those, kind of people. And we're still working on that. So
I think we're killing it. That's me personally.
We have some fun to talk about this time around. I did want to point out, though, I popped over to the 1966 Batman message board. Scott Sebring and Ben Bentley's little baby over here. More, I guess, Scott's now, maybe Ben's, I don't know. And our friend John Haig, A. Pennyworth, has been doing some video editing and has put together some very rarely heard narrations, kind of teaser narrations for both Corpse of the Year 1 and 2 episode, as well as the episode of The Invasion from Outer Space. episode, which was, the last episode, kind of a weird episode. I think.
Yeah, but I do love that one.
You do?
I do. I know it's weird. I know
Okay.
It's different, but it gave me some hope for where it could have gone.
Okay.
Well, I mean, had the show kept going, if they could have dabbled in some more weird stuff, I brought that up lots of times.
Yeah, you have. And
I like when it gets into the esoteric. I like when it gets weird.
Can we say esoteric on the radio?
Not in China.
Okay. All right. So we'll have to beep that out from everywhere else except
for international.
Yeah. There you go. If you haven't had a chance, pop over to message board and click on the Green Hornet aspect of the 1966 Batman message board and join up. By all means, join up, and then join in some of the fun. Somebody else had a comment about the Marlowe episode that we talked about where Bruce Lee played the thug. And they reminded me that Marlowe actually didn't lose his crap, when Bruce kicked everything, that it was James Garner, basically played it straight. He seemed to be nonplussed by the whole idea that this guy is breaking up furniture. And I got to be honest and say I haven't watched the movie in a very long time.
Right.
Which means I know what I'm doing this weekend.
A couple of little fun ones that just in my every day over the past couple of weeks. I've been building playlists on my music stream, and one of them I just started seeing what it would add on its own, and 3 different playlists all added the Owl Hurt Green Hornet theme.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So apparently I put that on a lot.
There you go. And that's a good one to put on. But
yeah, it was pretty fun. And then right before we started recording, I was watching an episode of MASH, and Klinger did the Shadow reference, and it made me smile.
I had a really nice conversation. You and I haven't had a chance to speak basically since we did the last podcast with Jeff, but I had a really nice conversation with somebody in regards to forwarding or continuing on the idea of doing the radio shows. And I won't say it's dead in the water, but there's a lot of work to be done to be able to get to the point where we can have a conversation with Mary Kay and the lawyer at Green Hornet to be able to say, yeah, we're going to move forward with doing this, but not dead in the water at this point. We're still having some conversations and some good conversations. So I'll just throw that out there that, maybe if you guys and gals are still interested in listening to some of the recreations of those scripts that have not been recorded, the original first 300 and some odd, let me know. Podcast at greenhornet66.com. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love support for this if it's something you guys really want.
Well, that's the secret, right? Isn't that what that book's about? Is just speaking it into the universe, and it becomes something. Right?
Yeah.
So I don't know if you noticed, but I'm cheerleading this a little bit today. I'm very pro Green Hornet Case Files today.
That's great. Thank you. I appreciate that.
I'm very, very pro into what we're doing. But I have learned throughout this that there's a pretty big gap in my knowledge. And that is the man himself, Fran Stryker.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know a ton about him. So I kind of hoping we could talk about him a little bit today.
I'd love to have a conversation about Fran Stryker because, and do you have more to add to that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Mary Kay and I have had, for those of you that maybe missed that episode, Mary Kay is the granddaughter of George Trendle, Mary Kay Johnston. She's the granddaughter of George Trendle. And obviously the fellow that gave us the Lone Ranger and gave us Green Hornet and so many other great shows.
Yeah.
But George Trendle wasn't the writer. George Trendle was an idea guy. He was a businessman. He came up with the kernel of the idea and handed it to, as you mentioned, Fran Stryker.
Yeah. And that's about as far as my knowledge really goes.
Okay. From what I understand, and I don't have a huge amount of knowledge, but, some things that we can pass along here. Fran Stryker was just a writing fool. He started off in radio. I think he did other things, but he actually started off kind of in management and on air and that kind of thing. And
really?
He eventually wound up going over into the writing side of things. And of course, obviously, when Trendle got a hold of him, then, magic sort of happened as these things do. But yeah, Stryker was an announcer. I believe he was into some form of management at early radio stations and so forth. And then started, one of us. He was one of us. Then started writing. And we wouldn't have a Lone Ranger if it wasn't for Fran Stryker.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have a Green Hornet if it wasn't for Fran Stryker. We obviously wouldn't have any of it if it hadn't been for George Trendle either. But the shape of the beast that became Lone Ranger, Green Hornet, Sergeant Preston, that was Fran Stryker. Every word that the actors come up with out of their mouth, that's Fran Stryker. Up until, the late 40s, early 50s or something like that. And I think then there were some scripts that were brought along by others. But here's a guy that, what is it? He could write, or was known to write, somewhere in the neighborhood of 10,000 words. I've got it written down here someplace. Let me see if I can find where this 60,000 words a week.
Good Lord.
Now, you know about writing. I mean, you're a writer and you've worked in and around bookstores for a good chunk of your career. So you know what, writing is,
Yeah.
How many words? I was just seeing one of our friends, Green Hornet friends, was talking about one of the books he was writing. He said, well, I just added 1,000 words today to something that he was writing. Jim Beard was just saying that.
Yeah.
On his Facebook page. And I thought, that's great. 1,000 words in a day, that's pumping it out pretty good.
That's a chunk, yeah.
Yeah. 60,000 words in a week.
Yeah, that's that's a level of you got to really love the sound of your typewriter. At the time,
typewriter.
Obviously.
Yeah, you're right. Typewriter. We're
talking about the click clack of the keys, right?
Yeah.
Like
now,
there's a rhythm to writing. That's Hunter S. Thompson said that he when he first started out writing, he typed The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. He sat down and he typed the entire book out because he wanted to know what it was like to play the rhythm of great writing.
Oh, there's an interesting thought.
Right? And that that stuck with me, and I wonder if Stryker was doing the same thing. Just, you get into that and you know where it's going because you can just feel the rhythm.
Yeah. Have you ever worked a typewriter?
Yeah.
Okay. Early days radio. That's how I started my copywriting, because I, in addition to being a big mouth radio announcer, they quickly found out that I could write copy.
Yeah.
And one radio station, as soon as I got off the air, the salespeople would, nail me against the wall and say, I need copy for, whatever it happened to be.
Yeah. Whatever the Autoplex is doing or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. And my first thing was, typewriter. We didn't have computers in the early 80s, late 70s, early 80s, when we just didn't have that.
Yeah.
And so it was all typewriter. And I have to be honest and tell you, I'm kind of digressing here a little bit. When I was in high school in the 70s, the typing class I signed up to take, and I attended 2 days of typing class and switched classes because I thought to myself, who in the hell
is he going to need this?
I'm going to be a rock musician. I'm not going to need to know how to type.
Right. Yeah.
And what have I been doing the rest of my entire life?
See, I took a typing class, but it was the early 90s. We were starting to move into computers. And so my typing class was on like old Macs or whatever.
Oh,
and they were playing, they had, Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego? On the computer. So you do your typing stuff, and then when you got done, you could play the game.
You can play the game, yeah.
Well, there was this sound that was made when one of the bad guys got away in the game, or he went across the screen on a skateboard, and it made this re as the wheels squeaked on his skateboard, and it was the exact same tone as my morning alarm clock.
Yeah,
and I quit the class over it because I hated hearing that from other people's computers. I couldn't do it. I was like, nope, I'm done.
It's not going to happen.
To this day, I suffer. I can't type for anything. I can write all day long, but I got to hand it to somebody to type it off. And I type every day at work. It's terrible.
Well, I don't. I don't type at work, but I spend just about every other, waking minute in front of a computer doing whatever, and I've written a great amount over my life. And when I think about 60,000 words per week.
Well, and he wasn't just cranking out radio scripts, right? He was doing other stuff.
Yeah. He wrote radio scripts. He wrote the original 1954 newspaper, the comic strip, something called Sea Hound. It was based on the adventures of the Sea Hound radio series. I have right here in my hot little hand one of how many did he do here? Hang on, I had to make notes. He actually did 27 Lone Ranger books that were above and beyond the radio series itself.
Wow.
And 8 Tom Quest adventure stories. And I have 3 of the books in my collection.
Tom Quest.
Tom Quest.
This is like Johnny Quest?
Johnny Quest's
uncle?
You wonder where. You wonder where the yellow went when you brush your teeth with Pepsodent. That tells you how old I am. Hardy Boys. You've read Hardy Boys Mysteries.
I have. Basically
the same idea of Fran Stryker to do the Tom Quest adventures. There was...
so they're like a young adult mystery novel?
Yeah, they're a young adult mystery novel. And he did, again, 8 of them. Sign of the Spiral, which I'm actually reading right now, which is it's a lot of fun. It's a simple read. It's an easy read. There's the Telltale Scar. There's the Clue of the Cypress Stump. The Secret of the Lost Mesa. The Hidden Stone Mystery. The Secret of the Thunder Mountain. The Clue of the Inca Luck Piece. And Mystery of the Timber Giant. And they all surround Tom Quest and his friend, ace newspaper correspondent, Wiz Walton. There's some alliteration for you.
I like a Wiz Walton.
Wiz Walton, man. And Gulliver, who is a gargantuan Texan who is fiercely loyal to both Tom and Wiz.
What? That sounds awesome.
Yeah, they are a lot of fun.
I can totally get behind that. That sounds great.
And he did a Sergeant Preston and Rex book. And, just amongst many, many other things. I think he was working on a historical novel when he sadly was killed in a car wreck. And the name of the novel is One More River, and it was released by this family posthumously, like I did, Ian's book after he passed. But good Lord of God Almighty! And the more you read down through here, the things that he, got involved with, he actually wound up in 1960. There was a TV show, and you've probably heard of it, To Tell the Truth.
Oh yeah.
Where, and a lot of the listeners right now are going, oh yeah, I remember that. The panelists, the 4 panelists, 3 or 4, were blindfolded, and they would bring out this guest to sit down and answer questions that the blindfolded guests would throw out there. And Fran Stryker was on the show to, because he's the one that wrote The Lone Ranger, and he wrote The Green Hornet, and he wrote Sergeant Preston. And I don't know whether they got who he was or not, but
oh, we got to try and find this episode.
I'm going to have to look for that episode. Yeah.
Podcast at greenhornet66.com. If anybody has it or knows where it's at on YouTube or anything like that.
Yeah. I'll be popping out onto YouTube after a little while here. And
that'd be cool.
I'm just, every time I think about the creation of Lone Ranger, Green Hornet, and you can't really separate the two. I mean, because same basic idea behind the two of them. When you think about it, when you think about how Trendle, had this kernel of this idea, who knows where he got the original idea for Lone Ranger. We tell the story that he wound up with the Jimmy Dale book, handing the Jimmy Dale book to Stryker and saying, this is where I want it to go, kind of thing. Yeah. And Jimmy Dale not being anything really any different than Scarlet Pimpernel. Same basic idea. Rich playboy. How have we heard that before?
I was going to say, a tale as old as time.
Yeah.
It really did get lifted into so much, like the Joseph Campbellness of it.
Yeah.
the hero's journey, and the you take a wee bit of that with a little bit of Siddhartha and you mix it together.
Oh yeah.
And there you go. And that's the formula of the rich kid who wants to do well without, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah. There's just so much to dig into when it comes to the writing side of this. And I can't separate the two to be able to give credit, properly, say, Fran Stryker did all the work. Well, yeah, he did, all the writing stuff. But if it hadn't been for the business acumen of Trendle, we wouldn't have either of these, these things.
Well, and then that's kind of the, can you have Lennon without McCartney?
Precisely.
Eventually, but not to start. You have to have the two together to get it going.
Yeah.
No, nobody can do it. Very few people can do it as a one-man thing.
Yeah, and I loved to hear McCartney talk about writing with Lennon. Because Lennon would be going along, or Paul would be going along with a verse, and he would get stuck, and Lennon would just pop in a line of something, and it just
kept the whole thing off down the road.
Yeah, exactly. Stryker, in addition to Hornet, Lone Ranger, Sergeant Preston, Tom Quest, some of the other series that I have not listened to, but I'm going to search them out. Thrills of the Secret Service was also one that
interesting.
He helped co-create. Also, Dr. Fang is another one, and Warner Lester Manhunter. Now, here's the twist on Warner Lester Manhunter. It introduced a character named Mike Axford.
No way.
it introduced the Axford character, which then obviously later became the whole, the Hornets. Originally, he was a police officer and made a transition to, I think at one point he transitioned to being a bodyguard for young Britt Reed, and eventually then he became, reporter guy,
Yeah.
Ah, the fine Irishman that he was. You've got to let me write this story, Reed. About the Green Hornet.
That's so funny. Like, is it the same character, or did he just recycle the name?
No, it was the same character.
Like within his headcanon, he was like, nope, this guy.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think, it was just one of those characters maybe he liked enough, or maybe, Trendle went, hey, I like that guy, let's push him over into, I don't know where, if that's what happened, but yeah, it's like, let's take this guy and make him over here into this and transition him into this. So
that's so cool.
Yeah.
So were those other ones pre Lone Ranger?
Thrill Secret Service, Dr. Fang, Warner Lester, I don't believe so. I think they came along after, and probably in the middle of the giant swell of radio shows after the popularity of Lone Ranger, Green Hornet, Shadow, all those that came along. That
when it really started to pop off as pop culture. Yeah.
And if you're really into radio shows, you probably know a lot more than Kory and I do, about these things. So, by all means, send us a note. We'd love to hear from that. But there were so many radio shows at a given point in the late 40s, early 50s that I think have been lost to time because they were, a one season kind of thing. Didn't really take off very well. The numbers weren't good.
Well, there was also regional things.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Not everything was national as far as the shows go.
No.
So, I mean, that's another part of the reason that I think some of those were lost.
Oh, yeah. No doubt. No doubt about that. And, where they recorded, I don't know if they ever, had transcriptions made of those. Whether the script still even exists, I don't know. That's a lot of research that either I need to do or you, listener, send us a note and
listener,
tell us about
Martin
it.
Graham.
Yeah, Martin, get on this. Give me a call.
I know you're out there, buddy.
Yeah, well, he's busy with his coffee shops. I think he's been doing really, really well with his coffee shops, and I give him kudos for making that move all the time. So. I wanted to read just a little bit here. This is Sign of the Spiral, a Tom Quest adventure, Chapter 1, Texas Bound. A small train chugged along the single track, its headlight piercing the darkness with a tunnel of light. The train ran southwest from Lubbock County toward that part of Texas that folds in a right angle around a corner of New Mexico. It ran with a little regard for schedule, to serve the widely spaced towns that studded the route. There were several cars in the train, but only one held passengers. In this ancient coach, a dozen people sprawled awkwardly as they slept or tried to sleep on the uncompromising red plush seats. So, he just has this command of being able to, I see the headlight of the train. And I
totally got lost, man. I was just waiting for you to keep going. I was like, this is great.
Then Tom dropped his pants and no, wait, that's not it.
Send your complaints to podcast at Green Hornet 66 for Greg's editorial license.
It's just me. So again, big, huge kudos to a guy that we just wouldn't have. We would have the Lone Ranger, the Green Hornet. We would have those without Fran Stryker. But I don't know that we would have them in
in the form we love.
Yeah. I think they might have gotten lost to time, like the Dr. Fangs and the Fibber McGee. Oh, Fibber McGee and Bollywood? No, that was something else.
No, your friend is Whiz.
Oh, that's it. That's it. That's it. Whiz Walton.
Whiz Walton.
Yeah, you're going to use that, aren't you?
Yeah, dude. That's going to be a name of some sort. I'll have to use it somewhere.
Social media name, Whiz Walton.
Whiz Walton. Yeah,
I think that's what I'm going to change my social media name to.
Well, it's like I had a buddy that submitted articles to Tumbleweed, the local small press,
right?
Newspaper here, and he always wrote under the pen name Rusty Shackelford.
Oh yeah,
which he had stolen from King of the Hill. So Whiz Walton it's up there with my other pen name, so I like it.
Yeah, I never figured out the whole pen name thing. I have been I have been published in Tumbleweed a number of different times on different things. I've had a lot of different publishing stuff for article I wrote about. Her name just escaped me. She played Marianne on Gilligan's Island.
Oh, yeah.
And you know who I'm talking about. And I did a lovely piece on her for a magazine years and years ago. But I never figured out that I should put Whiz Walton.
Whiz Walton's perfect. I'd always used Coriolis Blisterfeld.
Coriolis Blisterfeld. I like it.
So the Coriolis effect is
yes.
Swirly
to the right side or swirly to the left side.
Exactly. And a Blisterfeld is what it's the term for when you're walking towards someone and you both step the same direction.
Oh.
And that's
I didn't know that.
So if you're walking towards somebody and you're both like, and you do that kind of little dance.
Excuse me.
That's a Blisterfeld. Yeah. So Coriolis Blisterfeld, my pen name was, if you do that below the equator, you go clockwise instead of counterclockwise.
Oh, I like that.
There you go.
All right. I will not be using that, but I just thought,
and that's where everybody stopped listening this week.
Well, the sad news for those of us that have loved every second of everything that Fran Stryker ever wrote is that Stryker was in the process of moving locations with his wife and child and wound up in a motor vehicle accident in 1962. And sadly, at the very, very young age of 59, he went to his maker. And
I really wonder what he would have thought of 66.
Yeah, you do. You do, and you often, I often wonder, would the series have been better if he'd have been involved?
Yeah, some sort of producer or something, or even a writer.
Even as a writer, yeah.
So
it's interesting. I have gone through all of the episodes of the 66 TV series and looked at all the writers, and I believe with like one or maybe two exceptions, all the writers have passed, and the one or two that still are still living are like well into their 90s. So, I was always looking for, can we talk to one of the writers of the series? Get them on the show. That'd be great. But
that would be great.
Yeah, it would be, but probably not. Probably not at this point.
We just got to get funding so we can start traveling, go record with people that can't really navigate.
There you go.
Technology.
Coffee. ko-fi.com. Green Hornet Case Files. If you got an extra couple thou laying around, drop it in the kitty. You can buy us a cup of coffee and plane tickets
to go record with people.
I'm liking how you're thinking.
This show would get real interesting if we had some funding.
or not. I don't know. I don't know if it really would. So there you have it. As far as the hijinks of Mr. Fran Stryker, I do often wonder what would have come out of that man, moving forward.
Yeah.
Did he have another great series that he would have passed on to us? Would he have gotten into writing novels and written, The Great Gatsby? I don't know. It's just it begs the question of to what could have been.
Right.
So in the meantime, if you're out in a bookstore someplace, I tend to go to a lot of the antique stores and do some digging around. One of the local antique stores had, a good dozen or so, maybe Lone Ranger books. And I sorely wanted to pick all of them up, but I passed. So,
yeah.
But I have been picking up Tom Quest as we go along.
Heck yeah. Now, see, where I need to pick your brain about where that's at and go hit them up.
Yeah, because they are out there. I mean, you can find those, and I always look. I always look for those. I always look for the Jimmy Dales, any of that kind of stuff. I take a look for. So, there you go, Francis Hamilton Stryker, born August 19th.
Well, I appreciate it. I didn't know a ton, so.
And now you know a little bit more than not a ton.
Right?
Yeah. Time to do some research.
Yeah. This is a good one. I like that. I learned a lot. I didn't know.
Yeah. And it's fun. You and I both love to read. We are readers at heart. And to take one of the books or the scripts that, we have our hands on and to read the words that were written, not just listening to the performances that were done, but to, read, the words. The reporter picked up his ears at the tone that came into Gulliver's voice. Do you, he demanded, mean to say you'll get tough with Hanford if he doesn't feel like talking? So,
it's so good.
Yeah, it's a YA, but it's young adult.
Well, that doesn't
matter.
Mitch Hedberg once famously said, "Any book is a kid's book if the kid knows how to read."
Oh, I like that.
I always thought that joke was funny because I started reading like Stephen King in 3rd grade. So any book is a kid's book if the kid can read.
Any book is a kid's book. And for me, any YA book is a good book. I'm still reading Hardy Boys.
I love a Hardy Boys. I love a Hardy Boys. I love a Nancy Drew.
I read all that stuff. There was Happy Hollisters was one of the book series that I read as a kid. Same basic idea. It was, a whole family of kids. And I was kind of an only child. My brother was 12 years older, so he was out of the house. But I grew up kind of as an only child. So reading a book about, 8, 9, 10 other kids, it was like watching the Brady Bunch on on television.
You know what's funny is I was just thinking now about back when we were doing AU radio, there was a run of Nancy Drew comics that were happening at that time.
Yeah.
And you were just chomping at the bit to come in and record on Wednesday because Wednesday is new comic book day.
Uh-huh. Wanted to talk about the new
Nancy Drew.
New Nancy Drew, that's right. And they were good too. I think
great. Yeah.
I think I had the entire run of those at the time. So all right. If you'd like to have more information about Fran Stryker, there is a ton of out there on the interwebs, as they are. You can go check out the Wikipedia page, has some basic information. I would love somebody, I don't know who in the heck it would be, Martin Grams, to do a biography of Stryker. Maybe there is one. I haven't been able to find one that's out there, but boy, I'd sure like to know more about this guy and how he could write 60,000 words.
Agreed. And anybody out there that has more info, please hit us up.
Yeah. we would love to have that information to be able to pass on to you, the listener. All right, Fran Stryker, George Trendle, thank you guys. We appreciate the fact that you gave us something so cool.
Oh, yes. Yes. Yeah. We are indebted. And
again, podcast at greenhornet66.com, ko-fi.com/Green Hornet Case Files. If you feel like throwing a couple $1,000 in the kitty, that would be awesome.
We'll even mention your name or not, whichever you prefer.
Whichever you prefer. That's exactly correct. All right. Please don't mention my name.
I don't want to be associated with you fools. On
that note, what do we always say about this time, my friend?
Let's roll.
As the night envelops the city once more, our journey through the hidden alleys of history and valor comes to a close. You've been riding shotgun with the Green Hornet Case Files, where the echoes of the past meet the voices of the present. Tune in again for the next thrilling adventure, where shadows speak, secrets unfold, and the legacy of the Green Hornet continues to inspire. The Green Hornet Case Files is a Grail Productions podcast. The Green Hornet is owned exclusively by Green Hornet, Inc. Until next time, vigilant listeners, keep your wits sharp and your spirit unbreakable.